happens with your anterior cingulate cortex when you're single and you eat bad. I've been out of shape most of my life. I've been in good shape for about 5 years. Don't quote me on some of these numbers because I'm 46 years old. To remember some of these things is difficult. In my mind, when I was working out, I've been working out for what now? Since 2009? 2008 maybe. That would be about 15. Come on, is that 15 years? 16 years, fine. In my mind, I think that I've been in pretty good shape, but I've been fighting to be in shape that whole time. You can see my before and after pictures. You can see my speaker reel on there. You can see my full journey through weight, all the pictures where I gained weight. I was overweight by 60 pounds when I was around 26. And then I lost 60 pounds, took me about a year and a half. And then I gained 30 pounds after my divorce. And then I lost that 30 pounds in about a couple years later. And then after that, I did drugs and I was underweight by about 15, 20 pounds. And then after that, I slowly got back into shape for a couple years. And then I gained another 50 pounds. And boy, this time last year, I was about 50 pounds heavier. I'm 153 or 154 today. So 153 today. And I was at my heaviest 202 pounds. It's like, I didn't even look at the scale for like a few weeks after that. I've tried everything, okay? Anything you could think of. By myself, because I've lived in monastic solitude. I've been single on purpose for about 8 years of my life. I've lived alone most of my life, but I've lived in monastic solitude where what I call that, and I define that as I've only emotionally dependent on myself. In 10 years, I was in a couple of relationships that were 1.5 years. Nothing was bad. I had developed the tools in those relationships, which were really good, but we didn't share the same values when it comes to eating. And I cannot be implementing what I want to eat on other people. Growing up, my dad would force me to eat certain things. He would say, you can't eat that, you can't eat this, you have to eat this, and this is it. And I didn't want to display those narcissistic traits on other people where I felt I was better, I was condescending. You should eat that. That's not fair to anybody, even one time. I should not be saying to anybody that you should eat that. And then I'm confused, should I be eating this? So now I'm involved in this full-on war of me trying to keep weight down, keep weight off, all these diets, exercise programs, weight loss meds, psychiatric medications that made me gain weight. Oh my God, there will be a day where I talk about all of the medications that I've taken that have caused me so many problems. And what's really helped me is mindfulness, meditation, but embodying it all day long. Not eating sugar, not eating white bread, white rice, and pasta, noodles, things like that. Not eating fatty foods all the time. And also not drinking, smoking, not complaining, not blaming. All of those things have helped me have this steady state of dopamine consecration is what I call it, where I've surrendered to dopamine and I said, look, I'm never gonna wanna do it. And that's what strengthens the anterior cingulate cortex. And you can rewire your brain at a neurobiologic level. I mean, before, I didn't accept this. I didn't accept I was doing this. I tried to fix my mind. I tried to overcome my thoughts. And that's when I started developing Mind Hygiene, which is an evidence-based writing technique. You can see a link in the description to a Mind Hygiene study that I conducted on over 4,000 patients. And in that study, they found that when they have this mission, vision, purpose, this alignment, spiritual health and mind health and physical health all came together. And when it comes to the anterior cingulate cortex, it's the brain's conflict monitoring system. And I'm gonna read on how it plays out. The old pattern. There was an old pattern where I was eating in bed all the time. For 3 years, I was full on addicted to sugar. Second year, my mom's first year death anniversary, I was lying down in bed and I had completed a rap album, released it on my mom's first death day onto Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. And then I barely got any streams from it. And then I just said, you know what? I think today I'm gonna Uber Eats cookies. And maybe I got a croissant, which is not unusual for me. And then maybe some pancakes, which is not very usual for me. The cookies were very unusual. Since that day, and then I ate in bed, which was maybe the first time where I ate in bed that I can remember. And then that was it. For 3 years, I was full on eating in bed all weekend long. Cheesecakes was my favorite, crumble cookies, gummy bears to top it off, and all of the stuff from Seattle, where it's all local. So it was like baked fresh. It wasn't like something where I was getting it like Oreos or something. I didn't discriminate. If I needed to eat Oreos, that's what I would eat. And it was an indulgent ritual. And my anterior cingulate cortex had a conflict between that comfort and guilt. Imagine when I said that what I think I need to do and God will bless me when I stop eating in bed. I never said I would stop eating sugar. I said, let me not eat in bed. There was a couple of things that I realized with this when I was writing, is that I did not want to eat sugar with anybody, okay? So if you invited me over to your place, I mean, I'm like, that does not excite me. That didn't seem comforting to me. That didn't lower my cortisol. That stressed me out even more because I wanted to eat it by myself when nobody's watching. There was probably a large part of me that was embarrassed about it. I was very embarrassed, but it's not like I wasn't saying what I was eating, but I wasn't completely aware. Like I was purposely not tracking the calories involved in how much I was eating. I didn't want to know. But what I did realize was that I wanted to eat in bed by myself. That was the comfort. That was my best friend during those 3 years. I had no other friends. I couldn't depend on anybody. Sugar was not judgmental towards me. Of course, it was terrorizing my body. Inflammatory molecules, cytokines, interleukins, chronic inflammation in the blood vessel wall. My A1C even went up to a pre-diabetic level to 5.8, I think, which was never had happened before. My cholesterol shot up. I mean, I cared, but I was still like, you know what? I still want like this food. And then what I did was I was like, okay, fine. And I was writing this down for several years and trying to retrain my anterior cingulate cortex that I want to eat high protein, no sugar, and low carbs. And I just wrote it down 4 times a week. And then one day when I was sitting down, I said, look, you know what? I'm going to only live for so much longer. Meaning I'm 46 now. I was 45 at the time. And I'm like, I'm not going to live forever. I better do what I can to be the best version of myself. So what do I need to do then? I got to stop eating in bed. And then I was like, I got to stop sugar. And then what I did was I stopped eating sugar and I stopped eating in bed. That retrained the anterior cingulate cortex, that muscle in the brain that's like, okay, you're not eating in bed anymore. 24 hours later, I'm sitting down in the vision room and I'm like, dang. As I'm looking at the forest right now and not in my bed eating sugar. Namaste Deodo. Namaste God. Thank you, God. Oh my God, I get to do a YouTube video instead of being addicted to sugar in my bed. And then I was like, I'm so emotionally dependent on sugar. I'm like, God, help me find a way to not eat sugar and I'll try to inspire somebody one day. And here I am. About 9 months later, I quit, December 24th. So that's been about 9 months now, a little over 9 months. What happens is that I tell myself I'm not gonna eat in bed anymore. But then I'm like, well, let me just give myself some grace and I'll eat in my room, but on a stool, but no sugar though. And then what I would do is I was eating some type of comfort food, whatever that looked like to me. At that time, I think I was eating like yogurt and then some nuts. But, I wanted to get that comfort of my bed, which retrained the anterior cingulate cortex. And then what happens is that I say, look, I'm getting a little comfortable there. Let me just stand up now and eat. So then I stand up and then start eating for a little while. And then after that, I slowly, and this is like every 4 weeks where I feel like I'm falling off, 3 to 4 weeks. And I'm single, so I got to do it all by myself, right? So I'm training myself, I'm writing things down, I'm looking things up, I'm looking up medical literature, I'm asking doctors, I'm asking patients, I'm asking boxers, UFC fighters, hockey players that are my patients, like, what are you doing? So I'm taking all of this information in, and I'm like, let's retrain the anterior cingulate cortex. I mean, I didn't think about it like that, but shoot, if I did, that would be a little bit more purpose-driven. Then what I did was found myself, you can hear how I said that, I discovered myself standing up, eating protein cereal, standing up in my room now. So then I've retrained my anterior cingulate cortex from sitting down on a bar stool and eating in my room to standing up. And then after that, what I did was I retrained myself by sitting down on my couch and eating on my couch instead. What happens is that the anterior cingulate cortex gets habituated, but very quickly. You can keep on training it to do things you don't want to. As an example, let's say you want to stop eating whatever it is that you're eating. I would consider or inspire you, because I do not give advice on this channel. I just inspire. I would inspire you to say anything you don't want to eat and you still want to eat it, I would schedule it in. What does that mean? That you would say, okay, from 7 p.m. to 7:01 p.m., I'm going to eat 5 Skittles. I'm not going to watch TV. I'm not going to look at a cell phone. Done. What you've done there is you believe in yourself that you can do it, number one of the best drugs on earth. you've accepted whatever you're going to do, you've showed yourself compassion by taking an action step, and you've embraced yourself empathetically and understood that you don't want to do this. And you're by there forgiving yourself on the way en route to doing what it is that you need to do to take care of yourself. And that's essentially aces your life with mind hygiene, which is accept your awareness, communicate your compassion, embrace your empathy, and soften the process. You're writing it down, scheduling it in, something that you don't want to do, and you're not making it seem like it's hard. What you're saying essentially is you're saying no, but you're still eating 5 Skittles. From 7:01 to 7:02, you're going to say no at least 5 times to the Skittles bag. From 7:02 to 7:03, you can eat 6 Skittles now, but no TV, no cell phone, retraining the anterior cingulate cortex. And then from 7:03 to 7:04, nothing. What you've done here from 7 p.m. to 7:04 p.m., you've scheduled it in and you've done one full-on meditation. You have decreased the cortisol effectively, increased the oxytocin bond with yourself because you're single and you live alone. You have a dopamine delay, so you're not getting the dopamine hits by eating, you're getting the dopamine hits by scheduling and sticking to those promises that you make to yourself. How about that? You're decreasing the amygdala hits, the adrenaline, the norepinephrine, the sympathetic nervous system, and you're undergoing that vagus nerve, that parasympathetic nerve reset, and you've validated yourself. Look what I did. Can you believe that I did this? And then from 7:04 to 7:10 p.m., eat 5 bags of Skittles. Now you can see where you just accepted the process, you didn't fix anything, you didn't control your mind, you didn't overcome your thoughts, and you're able to rely on yourself. This is exactly how these things get rewired. I don't like to call them habits. I like to call them maybe something that you haven't, you can call it a habit. I call it an investment. And when you start doing these things, example, not eating without watching TV, not eating without a cell phone, not eating, talking to somebody, I mean, you're like, this is difficult. Well, do you want life to suck and you do want to eat sugar? Do you want to feel bad? Do you want to look bloated? Do you want to not feel good? You think I look like this forever? I just started looking like this. Just like 10 months ago when I gave up everything. I dated a little bit in between that 10 months for like a couple of months. I mean, this is the first time I've stuck to my core values without being online when I knew I needed to be single. This time I just embodied singlehood. And because of this, I gotta figure it out, right? It's like you forced yourself into it. You have let go of the anchor on the ship and now it's in the ocean. You gotta figure it out. And that's what I would inspire you to do here. And when you do retrain the anterior cingulate cortex, you get used to it, you're okay with it. For example, I was eating in bed and then I'm eating sitting down on my bar stool. I'm eating standing up. I said, no more room. So you have to keep on like stimulating the mind because when you get used to it, that's when your anterior cingulate cortex will not develop anymore. If you found value in this video, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, like the video, inspire us with the coaching comment. Let us know how you are retraining your mind to be healthy when you're single and you're by yourself and you're in emotional isolation. Namaste.